Welcome back to Runabout Revival, where the journey to bring our 1991 Toyota Mr2 Turbo back to life continues. In this episode, we're diving deep into the heart of the Mr2, focusing on a crucial aspect of any high-performance machine, the cooling system. Today, we're taking steps to not only enhance the efficiency of our cooling system, but also add a touch of style and clean up under the hood, starting with RacerX's billet aluminum coolant neck and tree. Then we're saying goodbye to those old worn-out rubber hoses and hello to the new silicone hoses that not only provide renewed durability, but also adds to our blue theme in the engine bay. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because the ride is just getting started. This is Runabout Revival. Well, let's get started. So I've been getting all my parts together here, going through a couple manuals. I'm actually going to be replacing this hose, this J-pipe, and this hose with this tuck hose right here. Unfortunately, it didn't come in blue. The options were black or red, so black it is. I also have my Infinity EMS system here. This is the 506. I had to get this hand crimper. In the instructions, AEM refers to a $1,000 crimping tool.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Which is ridiculous. So they say, and also there's this other one. So this is the other one that costs like $60. We're doing a lot of crimping on this one. We're gonna be redoing the entire body harness per the K-Swap guy's instructions for doing EMS on the 3S GTE and the MR2. Also have a complete set of cooling hoses here for both the radiator as well as the engine side systems. I'm not going to be using a couple of them because we've eliminated some of the loop. Underneath here, we have our radiator and fan shroud ready to go. Since this is an NA to turbo swap, it still has the original NA radiator in it, which is definitely not sufficient, one for the turbo motor, but also for the increased heat of, Arizona. So we're going to swap that out as well. So last night I went ahead and started actually taking a look at removing some of the radiator system here, because we also have, forgot to show it, have the complete water neck system from RacerX fabrication. This is the top, and then here is the bottom. This goes right into the engine. The top is that part. So we're gonna be replacing that as well. It's just a much cleaner system than the 32-year-old system that's on there now. When I rebuilt the motor back in 2004, there wasn't a solution like this to replace that. And so everybody just used the old dingy one. This is a much better solution, and it gets rid of some of the stuff that you're not using anymore, makes it a lot cleaner, just modernizes the entire engine bay. So I started looking at replacing that system last night, and I was just kind of, this is a very dirty engine bay, so my apologies. But started just unhooking things, pulling stuff apart. And I actually took this off, managed to break one of the nuts here. Not a problem because this whole piece is coming off. In fact, I loosened it already last night here. I just wanted to film some of this, pull this off and show you what that looks like and follow the rest of the process from there. My apologies again, this is just super dusty in here. I'm gonna be trying to clean up some of this as I go. And after I get this engine assembled and kind of running, I'll probably be pulling this all back out again and kind of redoing the engine bay. But I just want to get this car running first and, make sure everything's working mechanically. And then after that, I'm gonna probably pull it all apart, repaint a lot of this stuff, and just make it look good. And I'm already looking at using some of the later direct coil on plug system to get rid of the distributor. RacerX also makes a really nice Hall sensor pickup device, and supports that cam plug there and a bracket to mount your direct coil on plug igniters. So probably gonna switch out to that. I've already unbolted all this on this side. I literally just put it back in so I could show you what it looked like originally. This has all been disconnected already. And actually this radiator tank, which you might not be able to see over here, is cracked from being outside for a little while. So we're gonna be getting rid of that as well. Better position this camera. not get the entire tripod and stuff out. Let's see if this works. These wires are just awful. I can't wait to replace this. But this is a coolant temperature, I believe. I forget, there's another sensor here. We're gonna retain those sensors on the new unit. I've already actually gone through, and there's a bolt here, and then there's another one on the other side up underneath. You can get through down here with a properly length extension, which is a good reminder. Have a nice set of extensions. It makes life easier. So I already cracked this off. This is just literally a couple threads on there. The bottom one as well. I'll leave that partially screwed in until I get that bottom one completely removed. Socket here, this is just a 14 millimeter on about a 5-inch extension. Oh, I just bumped the camera. Okay, I finally got that bottom one off there. And this top one is finger tight. Last couple threads. Perfect. Interesting to note, looks like the taller one is on top. Not sure if both of those are original. I believe they are, but who knows. Most of these engine bolts I actually had replaced. Most of these all over the engine. Those are stainless steel hex bolts from Kelsport, a company out of the UK. I got those when I originally built the motor to replace all the factory screws. They're a lot higher quality, and most of those bolts get rounded off, so these are just much nicer. So now that's all that's left is to disconnect this radiator hose here. This sensor's already disconnected. I'll take both these sensors off of that piece and take a look at them, might replace them, and then put them on the new one. We'll go from there. There we go, got them out. You can see the busted bolt, which is kind of surprising since those are very low torque. However, good reminder to use anti-seize. See, the cold start injector was blocked off from the original build a very long time ago. Little RTV. Pull these two sensors, put them on the new stuff here. Get that all mounted up. We use our stock radiator cap for now. I'm just taking the sensors off. It's gonna be a 17 millimeter. I'm using the long 17 millimeter because of the wiring attachment on top. Nope, out of 17. So this one's a 17, and this one is a 19. This one's not broken loose yet, so I'll just do that real quick. Not super torquey.
Yes, science!
So, it's gonna take a whole lot of work, or force. I say that, it's gonna make a liar out of me.
You liar!
Oh, yeah. Yep, we'll have to try something else there. There's a breaker bar. All right, let's try that again. Okay, problem is not going to be torquing this thing, it's keeping it on this cheap plastic table. All right, I basically put it on the ground, stepped on this tab, used my breaker bar to break it loose. It immediately finger tight. There we go. A little dirt, but I think that's gonna be okay. Got these guys side by side, just take a look here. Much better, cleaner. This is gonna work great. They provide a O-ring. Goes around the base of this one. You can see right at the top of the threads, that rubber, black rubber. And this one has a aluminum crush washer. And the directions tell you, I believe it's like a quarter turn. Don't quote me on that, read the directions, so you can download the PDF on the website. All right, so the old tree is out. This is looking real janky. It goes down here, but it's right there. See that hose clamp just past my middle finger? I actually have the silicone pipe for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on there because that pipe looks pretty trash. And I believe normally this one went from here up to the heater core, but since I'm not using the heater core, I just have a little around here for that. Okay, this tool has been so helpful. I literally just saw this in the aisle and picked it up at Harbor Freight the other day. It is a big long clamp, actually has a lock on the side for hose clamps, and man, this thing has saved me a ton already in terms of frustration. Trying to use channel locks or pliers, trying to get to places. This thing makes it so easy. I was able to get that hose clamp off of there and just wiggle that pipe back and forth. It's about to come off, pull it out, and replace it with the silicone. There we go. This part right here is this part right here. Oh God, that is dusty as fuck.
Dusty.
Yep. Made sure to use the old factory hose clamps. I like these better than those
Shitty.
screw ones that come with the kit. So I try to reuse them whenever I can. You can see on there. One hand. Squeeze a little push on the thumb. Release that thing. And that's how you do that. Man, it's hard to do with one hand. I just took this ugly thing off of here. So I'm gonna take the two clamps off of this and then put them on my new silicone. Okay, well, shiny. It's on there. I don't like the way that this is kinked. There's actually a spring in here, but it doesn't seat all the way into this extension. This hose runs a little bit longer than the stock one did, so I think it's crimping this. Plus, this is a straight hose. I have some other already bent hose I'll probably replace that with. And plus, I don't really like this thing here. That was a temporary fix back in the day, and I just put it back in place for right now, but that kink is just not gonna work for me. Anyways, the sensors are back in. I haven't reconnected the wire on this sensor down here. You can barely see it, but touching it. Wire is attached on this one. All this is gonna come off because I'm actually gonna rewire this thing. I did take the O-ring out of here just so I wouldn't mess it up when I was getting that piece in there. It's torqued to spec. They use Allen keys instead of a typical bolt. So just be aware of that. Bottom one was a little hard to get in there at first, but once you get the top one seated, get it about half threaded, easier to line the bottom one up. I want to be careful to get that surface real clean because you don't want any contaminants there because that'll cause leaking. I did notice, however, that the manual said don't put any Teflon tape on any of the threaded parts, and I saw a lot of people doing that on the install of this piece on YouTube.
Karen.
I still have to replace this huge tube here. It goes down there, loops around metal J-pipe, comes back down there, and connects to another hard pipe that goes under the car, up front to the radiator. This is here. That was there. Now, took the hose clamps off, put them on the new short pipe, and this goes in the pile of stuff we're getting rid of. I still have to pull out the body harness because after this one's in here, I realized this is actually the original NA body harness. I do have another one. It's actually that on the floor. That's the turbo harness. And I'm going to strip it down per Hux Racing. He has a video on his website, Hux Racing, where it shows basically the minimum wires you need from the body harness in order to do a standalone EMS system, which I'm doing the AEM Infinity 506. I'm actually gonna tuck it under here so you won't, this whole thing is gonna get deleted anyways, but all the wiring's gonna get tucked into the trunk here. Just a little bit cleaner, gets rid of a lot of the wiring in this area. Just trying to get this all cleaned up. There's an EGT sensor in the harness. There's a boost solenoid sitting down there somewhere. A couple other things that are aftermarket that I've just had sitting in there, just wired up to get a signal that will get cleaned up a lot.